Before we get into today's episode, I've created a short questionnaire that will help me get to know you better. Those that fill out the questionnaire will get entered into a draw to win an Amazon gift card. So there's a link in the description for the episode. Click it, fill out the questionnaire, and I look forward to hearing your feedback. Now for today's episode. This is the Michael Bryan Show. Hi everyone, welcome back to the show. And today I'm joined with Corina Layton, who is a dental hygienist. There's also a TikToker with over 2 million, maybe 2.5 million by now, followers. So Corina, thanks for joining me.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for having me.
So why did you choose TikTok? I imagine you were studying, you wanted to be a hygienist,
Yeah.
dentist. Why did TikTok come into it?
It definitely fell into the realm of the quarantine, um, as with a lot of people. So I initially, I don't know, I downloaded it because I started seeing everybody on Instagram posting about Musically, and then I was like, oh, what's that? And then by the time like I jumped the boat, jumped go with it, it turned into what is TikTok now. And I won't lie, initially I was looking at it and I was like, this is dumb. I was like, what is this about? I was like, everyone's doing the exact same thing. But then COVID hit and yes, I fell victim to the 4 hours of just scrolling, and then you're committed by that point. So then I don't know, I would just create videos, and I created a video on how I whiten my teeth with like at home whitening trays, because I'm a dental hygienist, or I was a student then. And then I would just give, fun facts about your toothbrush having a little indicator so that you know when to switch it out. And those videos just started to kind of take off in a sense. And, come obviously time to graduate, I then moved to Philly, was practicing in Philadelphia. And so then I was making TikToks like actually in the office, getting actual practice and seeing what actually pertains to the real life. And I don't know, it all just kind of fell into place.
I find it interesting how the specific creators that I've had the chance to interview, they do better than the people that are just going to start creating videos and seeing how it goes. Do you think
Yeah.
that's what the success comes down to? Like you were a hygienist, you were sharing tips on how to take care of your teeth, and that was what did it? Or do you think there's more going on?
So I mean, I definitely think that yes, there is definitely more to it. TikTok can be a weird place. My comment section being one of them. So it definitely felt like yes, I am a licensed professional, so I can give professional and sound advice based off of actual evidence that I have learned. But then at the end of the day, there's going to be people who are like, oh, I'm going to follow her because, and this is where my comment section, it's not me patting myself on the back, but they're like, oh, she's pretty, she's attractive, all of this and that. And I, um, I believe heavily in ergonomics. And so I have a saddle chair. And so this is always where the questions go. And so that is kind of really what I guess took off. I was steadily growing my follower base. And then people they were like, but what is this? They're like, what is this saddle chair? And what is this stool? And I made a video actually describing it. And call me naive, I had actually no idea what like people were asking about it, because it can kind of sit you in a very I don't want to say provocative, but it's for ergonomics. But
Yeah.
but people, if they don't understand what it's for, they can think that that is what it is. So I made a video just talking about it, and then that video took off, and I think I was like, oh my Lanta. I was like, I had no idea that this is what people were thinking. And it just, I don't know. And then I became known as the girl with the saddle chair. And then I also love to buy scrubs. My scrubs are many different colors. I have every color except black, because why, if I can wear teal, turquoise, and maroon and hot pink, like why would I wear black? So I would kind of then also anytime Scrubs colors would come out, people are like, oh my gosh, like she was like every Scrubs, like every color. And then
Yeah.
I became known as that person. So then it's just like it slowly progressed, but I still definitely have, I feel like, a loyal base of people who originally followed me for my dental content.
It's something that is quite confusing because I don't know what it's like over there in the States or Alaska, but we
Yeah.
typically see our dentist or hygienist when there's a problem, or we have
Yeah.
checkups every 6 months or 12
Yep.
months. It's not a regular thing where you go in and go, oh, I have this. Do you know what it is? It's not something we typically do
Yeah.
regularly. It's not a regular thing. So I guess you fill in a gap in the general
Yes.
population's knowledge base because people don't have a clue, or the best you get from your dentist is a
Exactly. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yes.
what does mean?
I know it can be so frustrating. That was what was huge. So I've always wanted to be a teacher, and I then decided I just didn't really want to do lesson plans. And so now, as I've like progressed slowly, like through my career, it's I definitely want to like go back and be like a clinical instructor, not where I'm doing lessons plan, teaching lectures, but I love to teach, and I love to teach what I'm passionate about, and that is dental hygiene, and it's clinical dental hygiene. It's something that is tangible in a sense, where same thing with patients. Every patient that I have, and this is where a lot of times people ask me a broad question, and I'm like, ask your hygienist. Like I can't, based off of that question, there's so many different boom 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 little subjects and little maybe answers or whatever it is. But I just love my job so much that I've been blessed now to have a platform that I can hopefully educate and teach people about, because there is definitely a lack of knowledge in like the dental home care like community, but also just I was victim to it. Oh, you have 12 cavities. Okay, we're gonna, get you back or whatever it was. And then I'm uh, like what? And this is like when I was a kid. Like I had no idea what was happening. I didn't know, like I didn't realize that was an assistant. I didn't like you just don't know these things. And so now hopefully I'm able to, even with the patients that I actually see, it's like I sit them down and I'm like, okay, why are you nervous? Don't just tell me you're nervous. What is it about it? Are you nervous because you hate the sound? Because if it's the sound, all right, we can fix that. Is it you don't, I mean, just so many different things. So that's where yeah, I don't know. It's able to kind of poke and prod and hopefully be able to like solve people's little kind of fears, and as you said, bridge the gap between, kind of that knowledge and lack of knowledge.
It sounds like because TikTok is mostly shorter videos that you're able to get to a lot of questions in a short space of time. Maybe you can answer all the different nuances because you've got like 20 seconds to do it or 30 seconds to do
Mhm.
it, let's say. You can get through a lot of questions in that time.
Yeah. So yeah, it's there's definitely but see, sometimes I literally tell people, and I'm like, this is going to be a long video, and it's like a whole 3-minute video,
Yeah. Yeah.
and those are the ones of like dental hygiene students that are like, I'm applying for, like I did one a few months back, and they're like, I'm applying for dental hygiene jobs. Like, what do I need to ask for? And I remember I like they didn't they prepared us in school for interviews and things like that, and know your worth, blah blah blah. And I mean, I still say that. I'm like, you better know your worth. Like you can do a good job, but you have to have the right instruments, you have to have the right practice, different things like that. But it's just those questions require more time. But I love like the little kind of short ones that people are like, what's the best whitening product? And I was like, you know what? Any product that's not crazy abrasive. So I love, like, and none of this sponsored, but I'm like, I love Sensodyne. I love, any like mouthwashes, things like that. Something that's not just scraping your teeth. Obviously. And I tell my patients all the time, I'm like, there are things that are used for tile, and those same ingredients like should, to clean tile. I was like, it shouldn't, you shouldn't be scrubbing your teeth with
Oh
all of that,
God. Yeah. Oh, you hear some
So,
horror stories, I'm sure, definitely.
oh my goodness, I see some horror stories sometimes too. Like, but I don't know. At the end of the day, that's what I love about dentistry. It's so innovative that there's usually a solution to whatever problem somebody's having. So I love it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I imagine it's something that might come easy to you. Have you ever had that kind of curse of knowledge where you're the professional and you start assuming that oh, everyone must know this? It's so straightforward. Like, why does not the whole world understand how this thing works? And then you have to sit back and think, oh, but I'm the
Mhm.
professional. Like, it's my job to know.
Yes, I feel like that is actually something. So yes, I've definitely fallen kind of into that trap a little bit, but I wouldn't actually say that that is something that like I really fall victim to because I'm so huge on like education and teaching that my mindset is always in. Even friends or family, they'll just like, and I mean, I'll maybe be a little more straightforward with them. I'm not going to like, you know, tell them this with a cherry on top and whipped cream. No, I'm just like, here it is to you straight. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I don't know. I'm always just in that mindset of just kind of figuring out. Like, I mean, I saw kids the and one was a brother, and then there was a 3-year-old that was just sitting waiting for his brother to get his teeth cleaned, but he hasn't had his teeth cleaned before, so the mom wanted to bring him back. And so then it was like, you know what, I just brother was in my chair and I was cleaning his teeth, the other one, and I'm looking at his little brother in my loupes, my magnifying glasses. I was like, are my eyes big? Like, oh my goodness, like I can see everything. Turn my, but
Nice.
you know, it's making it fun and making it an experience rather than a dreaded thing. Oh, my dental appointment. I don't want to go, you know.
Oh,
But it's actually like making it something enjoyable, and I can do that hopefully through education and and like teaching them about it. But also just this is myself just being animated and being real, authentic, and genuine, and being like, I promise you, like you're gonna be okay. I promise. Like it'll be fine.
I wonder what your creative journey was like. I'm a firm believer everyone starts with no followers at somewhere down the line. So, what was
Yeah.
your journey like? Did you have to change how you created content over the years? Do you shut off
Yeah.
notifications now because it just gets too hectic all the time? Like, what was your journey like from when you started, when you thought this musically thing looks a bit more like TikTok, it looks a bit weird,
Yeah.
all the way through to present day?
Yeah, so I mean, it started. I just would cool things. I would just post whatever. And I had one video. It was December of 2019. I totally remember it. It got 17.1 million views over the span of like a few days. And this was, I mean, 2019. Like this is fresh TikTok still in that sense. And I was actually terrified. Like I was getting all these followers. I got an influx of like 150,000 followers from having 0 to 150,000. I was like, ah, and I hadn't attached my Instagram because I was scared. Like my Instagram was private, but it was also like just my friends and my family. I was legitimately scared. Like I opened up my Instagram, or I at least like linked it in my bio. I didn't open it up to private, but I linked it in my bio. And and I think that looking back now based on the journey, I don't want to say that was a mistake because I think that we do everything when we're ready and we're comfortable. I think that I would not have been comfortable back then. I hadn't filtered through where now I've archived posts from when I was younger, different things that are just personal, like I don't need out there for everybody, and um but I hadn't done that yet, and all of a sudden I just started getting so many like requests from people all over the world, and I was like, what if somebody stalks me? Like, what if this? What if that? Like your brain just gets scared. And so I removed then the hyperlink out of my bio for my Instagram, and I just kept myself really hush hush. And so I think that's, like I was saying, it isn't a mistake because I wasn't ready, but that's where there's that big gap in 2.4 million on TikTok and like 120,000 on Instagram. Because
Yeah,
it took
definitely.
a lot of time for me to open up my Instagram. I don't know when I did, but it took me a lot of time to just be comfortable with sharing my personal life. Because then my videos transitioned. Then, the quarantine happened. I just started doing trends that everybody else was doing, dropping a couple little dental things in there. And then it really, I moved. I became a licensed dental hygienist after graduating, and I kind of stopped doing the silly, kind of crazy videos, and actually, or I would do them, but in the dental office and add like little tidbits of information text overlay to them. Um, and then it took like I had a saddle chair all throughout hygiene school. I have sciatica, so I have like actual back issues. um, and so that was huge when I applied for my job. I told my manager and I was like, I need a saddle chair, and you have to buy it through a rep. I can't just purchase it on my own. It has to go through like Patterson or Henry Schein, like these bigger companies. And so I was like, you have to order it, and either like you order it and you pay for it, or you order it and I'll pay for it. Like I'll cut you a check. And so took 9 months. It shouldn't take that long, but it took 9 months.
Wow.
And I finally got my saddle chair. And then like my videos started having that in the videos. And then people were curious, and I was just, everybody is stitching the videos, they're duetting the videos, and people are now actually asking me questions. Like, then at this point, my Instagram's open. I'm getting so many message requests of like actual like dental questions. Also, you're gonna have creeps and people who want feet pics and stuff like that. But you're gonna like, and different things. And but then it was like, I started actually realizing that I have built a community, and hopefully people are comfortable to ask and be vulnerable, and with their dental questions. Like a lot of times people, I mean, depression's a real thing, and it plays a factor in our mouth. It doesn't, it's okay, it happens. Where do we go from there? Let's develop a treatment plan. Let's figure that out. Just
Yeah.
getting your foot in the door in a dental office just to get a treatment plan put together, even if you don't do anything, that's the first step. That's it. So I just started noticing that. And then I don't know, it just kind of kept progressing. I definitely then stuck within the dental niche. I didn't really post a lot of lifestyle videos or anything like that. So I would maybe post a video in like regular clothing, and people would like, haha, they're like, somebody's hacked her account. They're like, who is this? And just turn of life events, I've ended up now moving to, I'm now in Savannah, Georgia with my childhood best friend. She's actually sick, so I'm staying with a friend right now. So I like don't have like my whole setup, whatever. So, um, but I ended up just moving to Savannah, and it takes a month and a half to get your license processed. So now a lot of my videos transitioned from being in the office to now I'm dressed like this. And, and people are like, oh my God. Initially it was like, who is this? And now people notice me in like both scrubs, but also regular people clothing, and they're like, oh, like she must be going on a date because she's dressed nice. And I was like, nope, I'm literally just in actual clothing.
Yeah,
Thank you though.
normal clothes.
Like I appreciate that.
Must be really weird though that you get it like if you were a teacher, if you're anything that involves a uniform, they associate you with the clothes. It's like, oh, I'm not used to seeing you in normal clothes. It was like
Yes.
when I used to play basketball many years ago now, like I don't
Yeah.
play anymore. I had friends that I would not recognize if they had pants on because they've always worn shorts. So
Yeah.
it really does work that way. And it is
It
freaky. It's
does.
crazy. Like you pass people in the street and they think,
I'll see
oh, they look,
patients.
yeah.
Yeah. I'll see patients. I'm like, oh, hi. And they're like, I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Like I've been only cleaning your teeth the last year and a half. Like I only
Oh,
know
you're actually
everything
a
about
normal
you, your
person.
mom, your
You're
grandma,
actually
your
normal.
children. Like yeah.
I can imagine it being a bit of shock for some people, especially if you wear scrubs on your videos and then you have some lifestyle pictures. It must be a bit
Yeah.
strange to then be recognized out on the street, let's say,
Yeah.
in your normal
Yeah.
clothes as well. Like you're going around thinking, oh, I'm safe in my scrubs. Like if I wear them, I'm recognized. But if I go out, I'm safe because no one's ever recognized me in normal
Yeah.
clothes before. And now all of a sudden you'll get random strangers thinking, are you that hygienist on TikTok? Oh, damn it. I thought I was safe
I
in
had it
my
at a
normal
gas
clothes.
station. I had it at a gas station. Um, Honestly though, straight up adorable. It was a family of six. Um, and like I even posted it on my Instagram even. It was so cute. I was literally, I mean, first off, it's early AM, like early in the morning because was doing a road trip up to go back to Philly, and I've never been to Buc-ee's, which I guess here in the South is like the holy grail of gas stations. I've never been to one. So my friend, we're going up, and they're like, all right, we're gonna go to Buc-ee's. I was like, yes, Buc-ee's, have to go there. And I'm just like walking around, just taking in all that is Buc-ee's. And I just hear all of a sudden, Karina. And I was like, I turned and I looked, and it was the mom, and she's like, oh, my kids, they knew it was you, but they were just too scared and just like embarrassed or whatever, like nervous, whatever it is. And so then I'm just there, and I'm just talking to them. Like, I mean, I talk to people like all day, every day. Like, that's my job, and I love to. I'm a social butterfly, and um, I'm just checking out at the counter, and then all of a sudden, I just two girls run over to me, and they're like, "Would you be in our Be Real?" And I just downloaded Be Real, which is literally only for my friends because, like, what I'm doing in that exact moment that the Be Real goes off is embarrassing a lot of the times. Like, I'm just sitting in the car driving, like, But these girls are like, "Would you be in my Be Real?" I was like, yes, I'll be in your Be Real. That is so cool. And then I wanted to take a picture with the Buc-ee's mascot. So I was like, would you be in my picture? And then I asked mom, I was like, is it okay if I post this on my Instagram, all this and that? And um one of the girls like DM'd me afterwards. She's like, thank you so much. Like that just made our week and all this. And that is what it's about. It's trolls. It's not about the bad comments. Like, so if we're talking like progression, I don't really look at my comment section anymore. I actually took like 4 days off of TikTok, which was fabulous. And just, I don't have notifications, nothing. But it's like, that's what it's about right there. And that is what makes me like keep doing social media is like to be able to, you made my week. And I'm like, honestly, you made my week. Like your positivity, your energy, and just like, I mean, it was awesome. It was so cool. And yeah, I was literally smiling like about it for a bit after. And like I was just like looking at the pictures. And I was like, this was so cool.
Oh,
And so yeah, but no, it definitely happens. It's more fun. Like it's kind of funny when it happens like at a bar because people are usually kind of they're tipsy, they're buzzed or drunk. They're like, "You're that girl from TikTok," and it's like kind of aggressive. It's like, like just staring at me, and I'm
oh.
like, like I'm Karina. Very nice to meet you. So, so yeah.
So would you batch content now? Do you just spend a couple of minutes doing a couple of videos at a time? How do you
Mhm.
currently do it? I imagine you're a bit too busy to dedicate a full day to creation in a way that some creators might. Everyone has
Yeah,
their own
yeah.
way.
I used to, yes, kind of do a day like where it was Fridays. Fridays were the days that I would batch content, so that I would have content over the weekend. And then also, like, if I wasn't able to, if I had a busier day at work and during my lunch, I just had to catch up on notes and I wasn't able to make content and things like that. Or I was just too tired. I didn't want to stay late because I would typically come in early or stay late or make content during lunch or things like that. So, but because I'm actually temping, so I don't have like a permanent practice that I'm actually working at. I'm kind of like a fill-in hygienist. Your hygienist is sick, and then they call a temp, hey, would you want to work this day? And so that's currently what I'm doing. I just have a couple other things in life going on that it's like I just can't devote time to a permanent practice. And so I get to kind of make my schedule, but also what that means is that I don't get to create as much content. So, I mean, truly, I'll create content like in my scrubs, just like in the backyard. Like, I don't care. And, it's just, if I'm in my scrubs, I try to keep it then dental content. If I'm like this, then I'll just keep it the regular, like, oh, this is what I'm doing today. Or I love to golf. So I've now started to post golf videos. I'm kind of just hitting just multiple areas. And I'm finding that I'm happier when I'm just if I want to take 4 days off, then I just take 4 days off. And I'm happier kind of separating that it's able to allow me to kind of be present right now with friends because and things like that. And just, yeah, but I don't know. I would say definitely, yeah, batching content is usually the way to go. But now I feel like I kind of just create content as I go.
Do you find that you have to get to a certain point mentally before you can do everything from post lifestyle videos? hygiene videos, teeth videos, being yourself, taking a day or a week off if you see fit. Do you think that's a comfort level, or do you think that, I mean, it's a bit blunt now, really, but do you think you need a certain number of followers before you can do that in a way? Because the amount of people that try and post content, try and be a
Yeah,
creator, normally it takes a bit of dedication to the
it
craft
does.
and you get
Yeah.
better and things like that. Do you think
Yeah.
that you would do as well? Let's say if you did all the varied stuff and if you wanted a week off and you took a week off, and if you did that from the beginning, do you think the results would have been the
Been
same? Like,
different.
how do you think about it?
I mean, I definitely think that it would have been different. I don't necessarily know that it's based off of follower count. I think it's who are your followers, where I now have a large amount of videos for people to scroll through that. My notifications, I'm like, what is that video? And it's a video from like mid 2020. I'm like, who is scrolling back that deep? But also the algorithm to just be putting it out again, just getting
Yeah.
feelers, and then more people are seeing it. And then that's kind of what's funny is because then it's like I don't even have to create in that realm is that there's so much content already there that it just kind of just keeps going in a sense. But um, I think that definitely if I don't post my views and the analytics and everything, it takes a hit. And so that is just where it's like, are people wanting to be full-time content creators? If you are, then you have to be on and create content full time. If that's what you want to do, it's a job. It truly is. Or do you want to just create content? And so that's where I'm finding that balance between um, what is good for me and things like that. And so that's where, yes, I can take the time off, but anybody can. It's just what are your goals in the end? If my goal in the end is to be a full time content creator, which it's not, I eventually want to have kids and I don't want to be on TikTok and I don't want to, like in that sense, like I want to, be able to have like a life that I don't have to be sitting on my phone creating content and sharing it and all of this and that. I want to be present in the moment. Um, then that's where I'm at. But other people, that's what they want to do. They want to, share every ounce of their personal life on it, and that's fine. And so truly, I think it's just what is the goal at the end of it all, and then just creating content from there, and then just creating like those expectations that followers know that they can click on your page and they're going to see 4 new videos, things like that. And that's when I was able to, that's what I was doing. And then I moved here and I'm doing more in like the professional space of dental hygiene now, where it's not necessarily just for like consumers or like the patients in a sense, but like I'm going to conferences and things like that. So it's kind of shifted in a way that it's like I'm not like relying on social media also for income. If people are, if this is their job and this is their only job, then they have to create a certain amount and they can't take time off in that sense. So I feel very blessed to, I always say I'm a dental hygienist first, content creator second. That's always what it is. I'm blessed to have a career to fall back on and that can supplement income in a sense, since I'm not a full-time content creator, I guess, in that realm that I'm able to take time off. But no, taking time off, yeah, definitely takes a hit in the in the analytics and all of that. But sometimes you just got to do it. You just have to, like, it's not
Yeah,
healthy to sit on social media all day every day.
I wonder what your thoughts are on social media, because there are a number of people that take time off that have, in air quotes, a life outside of social media. So it's
Yeah,
easier for them to check out, to not check their phone all the time, versus people that don't necessarily have that. I mean, I
yeah,
don't like saying people don't have a life,
yeah,
but it becomes something they rely on more so than
yes,
others. So I'd love to know what your thoughts are on social media in general. What's your
yeah.
take on it? Do you have like a state of the union on social media? And where do you spend your time as a creator, as someone that does do it semi-professionally versus
Yeah,
professionally? Because you said you have a job as well.
yeah,
How do you spend your time on it?
yeah. So I mean, truly, I'll spend time like just going through videos and things like that. Like I don't really watch TikTok for my own entertainment. I truly and so I mean I go on there, I just see what is trending. And it was funny, after 4 days of not being on TikTok, I was like, there's all these new trends. Like, I was like, this is overwhelming. Which is kind of, yeah, which is I'm because then it's like my mind shift has to change where I'm like, okay, where I look at videos and I read their caption and their text overlay, and I was like, how can I relate that back to dental or to whatever I'm doing? So that's how I view, like when I scroll and I'm viewing it with my eyes, that's how I look at videos. Then when it comes to actually my thoughts, in a sense, I think social media is great. It's connecting me to my friends back in Alaska, to my I have family in the Netherlands, my mom's Dutch, so it's like my aunt is in California, and so I get to see what she's doing, and she's traveling. I love social media, and I love that there's these platforms that people are able, and channels, that people are able to go on and share their life for other people who are interested. The thing about social media, though, is that people are able to either be anonymous, or people get that, that commenter's courage, and where they will just roast you. And I'm like, oh, like, I mean, I know my hair is frizzy, but like, it doesn't mean that I don't shower, like things like that. But it's like,
Yeah.
I've been working all day, and some people, they see that and they're like, oh, she's been working all day. Like we applaud you for, then there's, yeah, the passive aggressive ones. We applaud you for coming on social media after a full days of work. I was like, what does that mean?
Oh, you
But
must get some crazy ones.
oh my gosh, it's wild. And so that's where I'm like, the commenters courage, like that people just have that. They would say things that they would never say to your face. And I've only ever had it a few times in my actual DMs that I've actually responded back to people that they don't think that I'm going to see what they said. And I respond back and I was like, I don't know why you would say this to me or to anyone. I think, you may just need to take a step back. And I've had people then be like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so sorry. Like, I, you know, I'm, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't have said that. Like, that was very, like, insensitive, and just, but it's, people don't realize that you actually see, and that you're actually human. And, they just want to be recognized and noticed by somebody liking their comment. That gives them that sense of fulfillment. And so that's where I have to take time off, and I can't look at my comment section and things like that, because it just, as followers increase, the troll count goes up with it. So that's kind of, I guess, roughly kind of where I stand on social media. Like, I didn't answer that, I guess, directly, but I think I've answered it pretty good.
Yeah, it's one of those things where the amount of people that wonder why creators shift their behavior without realizing it's a response to their
Yeah.
followers' behavior in a way.
Yeah.
And I think there's a line where follower responsibility for the creator. There needs to be a line where you need to do your best as a follower,
Mhm.
like not be negative all the time. You can you
Yeah.
can you can criticize some things because that's how we improve, like
Yeah.
that's how people improve.
Absolutely.
And I think there's a line when, look, like if you're going to criticize them constantly, don't wonder why they're taking time off. But there's a
Mhm.
definite reason. If you track back and think, well,
Yeah.
maybe my actions played a part in that.
Yeah. Well, it's also because I'll go on like a blocking spree where I won't look at oh yeah. TikTok now has this wonderful feature. You can go into the comment section, the little lines at the top, you press that, and then it opens up
Oh,
where you can
great.
select, ding, 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 and I go through the comments. I don't read them. I mean, I read them. And if they're remotely that I'm like, that's rude, I block them. And sometimes I'll like click on the profile. I'm like, who even is this person? No videos, no followers. It's user six blah 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 8973. Like, I don't know. It could be a robot that's just set to troll. I have no clue. Um, but those people might not even be following me. A lot of them don't even follow me. They're just trolls. They're just there just to comment on the next, like, and then after my video, then they swipe and comment on somebody else's probably, and so it's just, I go on blocking sprees every now and then. It just depends. Like, what am I feeling like today? Do I feel like blocking people? You know, because like I said, I try to stay out of my comment section. It's not healthy. And I've fallen victim to just being like depressed and just like, oh my gosh, like nobody likes me. And then I'm like, am I creating content for people to like me? Why am I creating content? I'm creating content to educate and to share my life. And if people don't like that, they can block me and then they never have to see it. Cause I love the comments that are like, um, they're like, oh, I don't know why she's still showing up on my page. And I literally messaged them back. Like I comment and I was like, you can block me and then you won't have to see me again.
It must feel a
But
bit strange as well, like when, like in the comment section, you've got to put almost less value on the comments and the followers and things. But then if you
mhm.
ever wanted to monetize or, have any deeper connection with the audience, you have to value some of them.
Yes.
There must come a point when you think, you know what, if I don't do anything else with them, as in I don't monetize, I don't create any products, services, a business out of it, you name it, whatever the system
Yeah.
is, you need to put some value there, which then would make me think, well, then you start relying on it again, and the cycle just continues on. It's like a hobby that
Exactly.
becomes a job, and you lose the passion for it
Exactly.
because it's no longer
Yeah.
just a hobby. Where do you sit on things like that? Have you got a business? Do you just rely on
Hmm.
the hygiene side, the dental side to
Yeah.
be able to fund your life? Like, where do you sit on monetizing? Because so many people would be thinking, oh, if I have the followers, then I can start to do this or I can start to do
Yeah.
that. And then at the same time, we're having a conversation about, look, we've got to be able to navigate this thing called social media. You've got
Yeah.
to learn how to handle it and how to adjust if you need to, which then would make people ask more questions down the line. Like if I
Yeah.
start to do that, what happens then? How do you think about monetizing your audience and where are you at with it?
Yeah, so I mean, I do monetize on my social media, and so yes, you definitely do have to rely then on your analytics to, that's how companies will base their rates or different things like that, and also just I believe heavily in being worth your wage. And that's always something that my parents have instilled in me since me and my sister were younger, is just you always be worthy of your wage. And so you always go above and beyond, and so I never want to create an ounce of content that is not worthy of the wage. And the wage in a sense is just that company trusting me with their product to hopefully perform better after I post a video. So um I for myself, I won't promote a product that I don't actually believe in, that I wouldn't actually use. So there's a fine line between certain types of toothpaste that I have turned down. I don't care how much it is. I would never recommend that to my patient. Why would I talk about it on social media? And so that's where also I also look at it from the professional side, the dental hygienist side, not just the content creator side, that I'm just looking for, income, but I'm actually, people rely on me. And I do, like I said, I have that set followers that now, yes, they've grown and I now have more other people, but like initially people followed me because they trusted me for my, dental, because I'm a dental hygienist. And so I don't want to lose that. And so that's that's kind of just based off of, and I think that's just based off of just me being just a dental professional, is that I want to hold that close in a sense so that I can be still trustworthy, and sound advice, hopefully, if people click my profile. But um, in the sense of just like monetization in general, um, it's there's a lot of like opportunity to grow and things like that. It just depends on your analytics, your views, and so I try not to anymore. I really didn't, but I had fallen once again victim to just being like, oh my gosh, like I have to post, my insights have to be this, and they have to be like, oh my gosh, I lost followers today and all this. And when I truly stopped looking at my analytics, I became such a happier person. Like my content, like I just I don't know. I felt like I wasn't just relying on that. And then like I'll still get brand deals and things like that, but it's more for me. That kind of gets rid of that stress. So then if my agent or whoever, they're like, oh, like can you send us your most recent insights? I'll send them. I'll go in and I'll look at them, but if somebody wants them, but otherwise I don't really go in and look at them anymore, kind of things like that.
It must feel a bit strange. I mean, I guess the increase would always be better than the decrease in your case. Like if you have
Yeah.
to decide whether to block someone or whatever, you're always going to come out net positive, even if that's the case. I don't think you'd ever block millions of people that would hinder how much money you would potentially get from brand deals and things like that. So in my head, I guess I'm thinking, would you ever question blocking someone if it ever came to that, if it would affect? And I guess the answer would be no, because you'd always be net positive in any case. And of course, you've got the lack of reliance, so that, well, I'm happy to
Yeah.
do it for my mental health versus that, because I've got the dental hygienist side of things that's, more than satisfying, to the,
Yeah.
the lifestyle that
I
you want.
Yeah, I definitely so I don't have an issue with blocking even if it means that there's there's this. So it's very strange for me sometimes because I've talked with other like content creators and they're like any publicity is good publicity. I don't believe that. I mean, I believe that for them, and I believe that for this content creator and other people. But at the like I said, I'm a dental hygienist first and a content creator second. I wasn't looking to fall into this role. It fell into my lap in a sense where I feel very blessed, like I said, to just like be able to create content and have this community. But I don't in a way truly have an issue blocking people. Um, and at the end of the day, if somebody doesn't like the content that I create, they don't have to watch it. Kind of just like we were saying that I don't look at social media as my form of income. That's probably a better way to say what I'm trying to say. And so that changes my mindset where I'm blessed when I get brand deals and things like that, but I just want to educate. So if educating means that this company with their toothbrush that I already like is like, we also want to pay you to talk about toothbrush, absolutely. I'll do that. But I would have done it anyways. And so I don't have an issue with really anything in the realm of like, oh, I have to make sure that I do this so that I make money and blah blah blah. And that's where I'm blessed that I have a career. I have my job and I love my job. And people ask, they're like, oh, what if you just lost all your followers? And I was like, I would still go to work tomorrow. Like, like I will
Yeah.
still have a job. It's the followers are like I'm very appreciative for all of them. And you know what? People are like, if your TikTok account just got taken down, blah blah. I was like, then I would just make another one. I would just make another one, create the same content, and bring in, the same type of community, and maybe it'll be a different type of community. Who knows? But it's not. I don't look at my followers like a paycheck in a sense. I look at it like a sense of community, and same exact thing with my patients when they're in my chair. I don't look at them as a paycheck. Like I get paid hourly, whether they show up or not. I get paid. Like,
Yeah.
it's just it's a mind shift that I don't know that other content creators have, because it could be their full-time job. You know what I mean? So
It must be hard
yeah,
for
I
those
try to
people
I try to
though.
separate that.
It must be hard for those people when you think about the conversation that we're having, which I'm enjoying, by the way. I
Yeah, me too.
think it's something that so many people don't necessarily talk about, and it's why I bring it up with every creator, because I think everyone has their own take on it. And I
Yeah.
would love to know, Karina, what your thoughts are on responsibility, because you sound like the kind of person that would probably feel a sense of that with the
Yeah.
content and with patients and things. I guess it depends on your profession. So for yourself, you probably would anyway, because it's kind of baked into your job.
Yeah.
But how do you think about taking responsibility and being responsible for things like social media, content creation, that sort of thing? It sounds like it's quite high on your value list.
Yeah, it's I want to I feel a sense of responsibility in the sense, like I said, to be recognized on the street. What am I being recognized for? That is where I want to create content that I'm recognized. Yeah, I can be recognized. Oh, you're the girl with the scrubs. You're the saddle chair girl. You're the blah 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 this and that. But that's what I want to be recognized as. I don't want to be recognized for something. So it's I feel that sense of responsibility to create content that I'm proud of. And so it's not it's not losing my morals and my values just because this is trending. Different things like that. It's and so that I don't know. So that's where my sense of responsibility lies, is I just, if I'm going to be noticed, recognized, whether it's on social media or in public or things like that, what am I just like, that's the question that I ask myself. What am I being recognized for? And that's just falls into the line of, once again, like, social media is there. And if it wasn't, I would still be me. And I want to make sure that I'm not allowing social media to change who I am. You know what I mean? And so that's my sense of responsibility, that it's like I do have these followers and people who are they are interested in my life for whatever reason, but like, they're interested in what I do, or they actually have genuine questions. So then my sense of responsibility is that, all right, I have this platform. I'm going to educate as much as I can. And if one person takes what I say, and like, I love the comments. They're like, I bought an electric toothbrush because of you and it's game changing. My hygienist told me my gums have been the best. And I really started flossing after you showed how to floss. Like, it's being vulnerable. It's literally me flossing my hand, like in front of the camera, showing people how to floss, which people might be like, that's weird. Like, oh my gosh, like, ugh, like gross. Like, why would you? But I mean, I don't know. I want to educate and teach as many people as I possibly can. And that's where I'm blessed with a platform that I can hopefully do that. So yeah.
I wonder what your thoughts are on growth, because it sounds like at a certain point there's this critical mass where things just kind of take off. If I cast my mind back previously to what we've been talking about, I don't
Yeah.
want to use the word luck or like it just seems to happen overnight, but I'm getting a sneaking suspicion that all the creators that are in the seven-figure plus mark with their followers, maybe even eight figures, they do tend to think, well, it did happen gradually over time, and I was fortunate not to lose them all as it was growing, that sort of thing. So some people have this critical mass where it takes off completely,
Yeah.
like into the millions, and that's life changing
Hmm.
overnight, and their head just explodes and they don't know what to do with it. Other people happens more gradually. So I'd love to know what you would put your growth down to. And
Yeah.
also, if someone else wanted to grow their following, what
Hmm.
advice would you have for that? I guess it would depend on how it happened for you in a way, what the advice would
Yeah.
be, but I'm just curious to
Yeah.
hear what your thoughts are.
Yeah. So, I mean, growth, like I said, literally, it was like within a matter of a couple of days, I had 150,000 followers. Like, that was growth overnight. Where then after that, it was gradual, saddle stool hit, growth. Like, gradual again. Sorry, I thought I like had to sneeze for a second there, um, but so I would say, grand scheme of it all, probably more just gradual with just influxes here and there. But I would say, honestly, for anyone just wanting to grow their platform, um, I I think it's making sure it's something that you're passionate about. So people can feel your energy through videos, even if they're not like in your presence, and so they can feel if you're actually excited to talk to them about what you're talking to them about, and different things like that. And so it's being consistent. Starting right off the bat, you have to be consistent, which kind of goes along with the question that you asked earlier. And so that's where it's definitely um, you just have to, I don't know, just post what you're happy about. Don't delete videos, because once again, like I said, like, I have videos from years ago that are like, I'm getting likes and comments on that. I'm like, I just don't understand why. But so it's just, don't delete videos, don't get discouraged, just keep creating consistent content, even if you're not breaking 2,000 views or whatever it is, or not even getting to 2,000 views. It doesn't matter. Just create content that you're happy, you're proud of, and those people who will appreciate that content will follow, but both maybe literally and figuratively in a sense, um so that's, I'd say that would be my best advice to growing the platform, but consistency is probably key.
What's the future like for you? I imagine you've gone on quite the journey, actually, thinking about it, think
Yeah.
about the journey you've gone on so far. But what's next? Is the plan to stick to the dental hygienist side? Is it have your own practice? Have you
Yeah.
had conversations about what the future's in store for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, ideally, I would love to, um, I have things right now that I just have to, like, kind of that just require my focus. But later down the line, I mean, I would love to just like have my own practice as a hygienist in a sense, and just hire like dentists and have a full practice. But I'm just a practice owner, and I probably wouldn't work there. I would just work somewhere else, but still have a practice, just so that that is still that, like, that doctor's practice in this, in a way, and the boss or whoever, whatever, isn't there. Like, I value that respect amongst like coworkers, that nobody wants to be, well, everyone, I don't know. I just wouldn't do it, but I want like my own practice, and I want to just continue growing in like the professional field and speaking engagements and things like that, that hopefully I can um, continue to, like I said, educate and things like that. If that is more, maybe at that point in time, that might be more dental students, or I mean, dental hygiene students, things like that, and just at conferences. But at the end of the day, I love my job so much. So I think that I'll most likely be doing dental hygiene probably up until like I literally can't anymore, even if that's like 2 days a month. Um, but that's like the goal. And then obviously I have like little things here and there. Like, I've always wanted my own coffee shop, so I'm going to open up a coffee shop in the future. Just a little different kind of tidbits of things that just make me fulfilled and happy. I love to golf. So I mean, if I can just continue, like, go to the Masters and just like watch, and just like, just different things like that, and just continue to just grow honestly as an individual, and not being too set on my dreams, my aspirations right now, that it hinders me from being in the moment.
What hobbies do you have outside of, I mean, you mentioned golf, but we've got
Yeah.
golf. What else is there that's not social media or your job and studying, that sort of
Yeah.
thing? What do you do
It's
outside of
golf.
it all? Is it golf?
It's golf. That's it. I don't really have hobbies. Golf was actually, like, I picked up golf, like, I thought about start like doing golf back in like July, and then actually, like, it's a fresh hobby. And then in August I actually started taking lessons. Um and I absolutely love it. But I got it because, like, I started golfing because I would just be driving around up in like the mountains, or just wherever, having nothing to do. But there's golf courses everywhere. And I was like, oh, like, man, it'd be really cool if I knew how to golf. And then I started golfing, and it's like, I love it. I love the game. And people might think it's boring, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so lame. You know what? That's okay. You are entitled to your own opinion. I love it. So no, golf is definitely, that's where I've been putting a lot of my time, effort, money, and whatever, just continuing to take lessons and going and playing, and yeah, and so I'm keeping that very, yeah, I would say that's probably my own hobby. I mean, I love to like clean and all of that, but that's not, I don't know. Like, there's only so much cleaning and reorganizing you can do before like you're crazy,
Yeah, and
So
you start like reorganizing the thing that you've just
that you
organized.
just reorganized. Exactly. It's a
Yeah,
dangerous game, but
can be.
I'll do it. Like, I tell people all the time, they're like, "Oh, like, my house is such a mess." I was like, "I'll come over. I'll come over." Like,
Oh, hilarious. So have you got like friends that you like systematically go to because you know that their house is a little bit messier than you're okay with?
Um,
And you're like, can I come round because it's been like that for a while?
I've only like actually, so when I first moved here to Savannah, because I'm living with my best friend, and her and I since like we were children, like middle school, literally I would go to her house and her mom would be like, Madison, clean your room. And she'd be like, okay. She'd sit on the bed and I would clean her room and like organize, fold all of her clothes, put it in middle school. And then
Oh,
like it just progressed that now, who would have guessed we're in our 20s? Like we were in school together in Alaska and now we're in our 20s living in Georgia. Like living together, and I came over and I asked her, I was like, is it okay if I like reorganize? She's like yeah, like as long as like it makes sense and I know where things are because I came into her space. I was like, okay. And there were cups in three different cabinets. All the cups should be in the same cabinet, in my opinion. It just makes sense, right? And like
I
you have
feel
a
like
coffee
deja
maker,
vu.
so then you should have your coffee cups and you should have your coffee and your filters and your flavors all in one cap. Like it shouldn't be then ever. So I mean, yeah, I've happily had the privilege to organize a couple people's places, or at least just I don't know, clean. That's kind of if I'm like in a bender that I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I just don't feel good or whatever it may be, and I'm stressed. People know because I clean. I clean.
So are you like a under par golfer, or are you kind of I don't really care how long it takes until I actually put the ball in the hole in the ground? Like how do you
Yeah,
play golf?
uh, I'm not that good. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm really not that good at golf. I am good for having only played for like 6 months. So that's kind of where I would draw the line. I've made par a couple times. But
That's
other
pretty
than
good.
that,
It's
it's
pretty good.
huh?
It's pretty good.
No, well, I mean par on like one single hole, like not like in the whole game, in the whole
Right.
round.
Okay. Ah, so it's like this is the one that I'm gonna try and get in, and then hopefully
Although
I
it
make
isn't
it.
even like I look at all of them that I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try, and I might maybe do one. So yeah,
My limit's crazy golf personally. Like I look at it and I think, how hard can it be? And I've been to a driving range once, okay? Like I've been and I've tried.
yeah,
And I used to play tennis. So my
okay,
my sort of thing is was tennis and it got easy. It was I used to coach it as well. So a bit of background on me. I
okay,
used to be a tennis
yeah,
coach. And golf is too easy physically. As in
yeah,
it's like I pick it up and I swing it, and everyone says to me, and you're trying too hard. And I'm like, I can't dial it down anymore. I'm letting the club fall and I'm guiding it to the ball. That's how I play now. I don't hold the club in any grip at all because if I do, apparently it's too hard and I need
yeah,
to dial it down.
yeah,
And that's what was frustrating in that tennis was more physical, high coordination as well. And I
yeah.
think golf, yes, I can do it. Golf is my thing. I can figure out golf. How hard can it be? And I'm
It's
thinking
hard.
it's hard because you don't really feel like you're doing anything. It's
Mm-hmm.
like a bit like when I used to watch people play tennis and it's that you're trying too hard. I get that with golf when
Yeah,
I'm not trying. I could probably do better left-handed and I'm right-handed because I'm not as strong with my weak hand.
yeah,
It's that kind of thing. And it was the
yeah,
same with cricket. It was the same with swimming because I'm a hopeless swimmer. And everyone says, well, it's more about technique. You just got to it's a skill. It's not like a sport.
yeah.
And I'm
I'm like, I
thinking,
just don't want to drown, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. My fear of drowning definitely takes over with swimming. But golf, I just getting too impatient. I'm far too impatient to play golf. It's impossible.
Oh man.
And I can't figure out why. Like I'm trying not to try. I spend more of my
Yeah.
time trying to do nothing. And it's like,
Yeah.
how do you like maybe you can tell me because you're reasonably new, so maybe you
Yeah.
understand where I'm coming from.
Hmm.
How do you aim?
Yeah. So Yes. So I actually like there was this trick that somebody told me. They're like put the golf club, like obviously it's going to be in front of you, but you lay it across your legs, like, and then where's it facing? but but it's all about drawing the line, because this is actually one of my very first lessons when I moved to Georgia. Like the pro instructor that I had, literally he was like, look at your target and then draw a line where you see where that target is through the ball. Now put yourself perpendicular to it. So then your feet now are going to line up right to that line. And then it's all about like making sure you're not, and see, this is my issue. I swing back, and then when I come through, I open up too soon instead of coming through and then
Right.
opening
Okay.
up. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's
Yeah.
that's my issue. And so that causes when I open up too soon, woo, to the right it goes.
So is it like when like the aim then is to swing the same all the time, but then just change how you stand in relation to the ball? Is that basically it?
Yes,
So your swing never
I feel
changes, the
like it.
club changes, and where you stand changes in relation to the ball, but
Yeah,
then your hands and your body and
I
everything just
won't
moves the
lie.
same.
I don't feel like I'm qualified to give golf advice. Because I mean, I feel like that I mean, that sounds right. That sounds accurate. Um, yeah, I definitely don't feel like I'm qualified to give advice on golf. But that sounds accurate. That sounds like it would be.
I do feel like it's too technical a sport to then be told that I'm trying too hard. Is that how?
Honestly, people, well, so I think what they mean is that it's like you just attack it, because I have that issue that initially, oh, ouch, I would come back and I'd be like, and I would like just yeet the thing, whether it was the club at the ground or the ball, but like it wouldn't go very far, but it was just aggressive, that they were like, you just need to like loosen, like relax your stance, like don't hold it so tight. It's just like you just come back and you just go through, and it's about tempo.
Yeah,
So,
I used to teach people when it came to tennis that
mm-hmm.
in order for them to relax, you hold the racket with like two fingers and a thumb, so you basically hardly hold it.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to figure out that because when you're good at something, you do it more naturally and you don't quite have the same
Mm-hmm.
self-talk as a beginner.
Yeah.
When I tried golf, bearing in mind, when I say golf, I mean driving range, and I'm fully aware that they're not the same thing. And
Yes.
every time I try it, this is the thing. You're probably like, oh, so you didn't really actually play golf then. You just tried to hit a ball and couldn't do that right.
No, that's been me. Like initially, you just have to make contact with the ball. Like hopefully it's good contact, but like I just want to make contact, at the end of the day.
Definitely
Like
a
I don't want
hope at
to
this
I don't
point,
want
isn't
to
there?
dig into the earth.
Yeah, yeah. Hit there, you sat there or stood there playing golf, and you think the grass will go further than the ball at this rate. Like
Honestly, at
I
that
just
point, yeah.
can't even hit the thing.
Yeah.
Did you have anything on the horizon? So it's been great, Karina. You've been an amazing guest. Really enjoyed it. So
Thank you.
I hope that we might get transferred around too, because this has been amazing. Thanks so much for coming
Hmm.
on. What
Yeah.
else is there in the future? Because it seems that you got a lot going on. You got a lot
Yeah.
that you're
Yeah.
working on. Do you plan on taking the influencer thing, for want of a better expression,
Hmm.
anywhere other than I'm just going to keep doing what I enjoy, and then if something comes along, I'll think about it, or do you actually
Yeah.
have a plan with it?
My plan is just kind of based off of my goals. It's just looking at the end, what's the end game that I want, and then how do I get there? And so just knowing that I want to continue to grow in the professional space, it's coming on, it's talking to people, it's just getting out there and just continuously just educating and talking, and then just seeing where that goes. So yeah, that's kind of it.
Before we kind of round things off, I'd be
Yeah.
curious as to what your top three or five, depending on, because I know nothing about this. What would be
Okay.
your top 3 to 5 things that people can do for their teeth? So, no, we started off with dental hygiene and we're going to finish with dental
All right. I
hygiene.
love
So,
it.
what
I
kind
love
of
it.
things would you say to people? Look, if you don't do this, you're making my job as a hygienist a lot harder.
Number one, get an electric toothbrush, something rechargeable, not battery operated. Okay. Um, so that's number one. Number two, um, the angulation of how you are using said toothbrush is very, very important. If it's a round brush head, it has to be rolled individually around every tooth. It's very technique sensitive. If it's shaped like a regular toothbrush, it's a 45-degree angle and it's like a bobble and a drag motion. So you can literally look up 45-degree brushing technique and then it's there. The toothbrush does the work for you. Don't brush back and forth with it. Hold it in whatever technique you're supposed to use and then just do that technique. Then three, just be consistent with your cleanings. If your hygienist recommends to go in more often, go in more often. You might have a copay. At least here in America, we have copays in the sense that if like insurance doesn't only covers 2 cleanings a year, and I say you should come back again like every 4 months instead of every 6, then you might just have like a $55 copay. Pay it because if I'm recommending it, it's because you need it, and it's not necessarily. I mean, it doesn't necessarily make my or easier in a sense. But you just have disease and gingivitis and things like that we're trying to tackle, and we can't tackle the bacteria if the bacteria is overwhelming, is too much for them, and so it's just getting them in more often then also allows me to continue to teach, so there's my 3.
So, Karina, aside from TikTok, although you have the chance to share that as well, how can people find out more about you, enter your world, and connect with you?
Yeah, I mean TikTok and Instagram. I try to make it easy. It's Karina_907. So it's pretty straightforward. That's pretty much it where I'm at.
Thanks so much for being a guest on the show. Those that are listening, feel free to subscribe, share the show, tell others, and also leave a review wherever you are listening into your podcasts. Karina, thanks so much for joining me, and I look forward to keeping in touch.
Of course. All right. Thanks, Michael. Bye.